You're watching the TGM production. Well, hello there, Shemai, and welcome back to the weird side. No. The weird side. Welcome back. So you're probably wondering, Tom, where has your interviews gone? Where have they gone? Interviews, where have you gone? Well, you've headed over to a brand new YouTube channel. Tom Mason does an interview with ... Was a title inspired by David Tennant's podcast, David Tennant Does a Podcast with ... Now inspired by Michael Parkinson The Interviews, where he re-edits his old interviews. I have a brand new YouTube channel called Tom Mason The Interviews, where I re-edit old interviews from this channel only, exception of, for example, the Philip Hawkins interview I've got on this channel. I've got one part of my podcast over on Tom Mason, part of the Bully Box Files. So them two interviews are merged together. The interview I did with Adam Martin on the podcast was the first ever interview I ever did, so that got remastered and transferred over. So a lot of it, so it's some rules broken, but not every interview I've ever done. Mainly the one on this channel. They're re-edited because, I've improved my skills as an interviewer, so I feel like there's some areas I would no longer want to mention, and there's some errors in the edits, and visually, I've upgraded the way I visually edit them. So on Tom Mason, the interview, you will see currently 3 or 4 classic interviews and 3 brand new interviews, which are fantastic. If you want to make sure you've definitely got the new interviews, if you want to watch them, there's a playlist that's called Tom Mason The Interviews. It's classic interviews and new interviews, separated in 3 playlists. Tom Mason The Interviews is every video on the channel, or every interview on the channel, sorry. New is all the new ones, and classic is all the classic ones. In the link in the description, permanently, for the rest of time, you'll see my interview YouTube channel, because this is where I did most of my interviews. The Weird Side started off as a YouTube channel all about the weird side of the internet. Then it changed and developed. Now it's all about TV and TV alone. Different elements of TV, like crime dramas, has got Only Murders on TV. Now it's its own YouTube channel. Interviews have got their own YouTube channel. Children's TV's got its own YouTube channel. Books, own YouTube channel. All this. So we're splintering off. But this video, we're talking about the future of ITV. This is a discussion, and this will showcase the elements of what's going to go forward with the rest of the Weird Side as we go on. I've been trying to develop new ideas and new techniques and new formattings for this YouTube channel. That's why there's been a gap from videos. Now let's talk about the future of ITV, mainly in the sense of positively, right? Ignoring ITV's buyout, ignoring all the money that's been passed around, we're mainly on about the fact that their TV schedule compared to their streaming is 2 different things. If you look at daytime, Loose Women, Lorraine, Good Morning Britain, This Morning, I know some people might like that, and I'm saying it's not for everyone. None of it's for me, personally. But you sort of see when you look at the streaming, you've got Black Grove, you've got the BritBox stuff, you've got the Avengers, you've got films, you've got all sorts, like all the DC stuff. A lot of this could be sprinkled throughout the schedule for repeats in the day or whatever. I remember the first time they've ever aired something on the channel, they could do that. Now, This Morning is a alright programme in a sense of that I've got no issues with This Morning. Good Morning Britain, again, it's like BBC Breakfast, I've got no issues with it per se. It's Loose Women, I don't think is at all great, but then that's again not anyone's fault. It's just I don't think the format's great. Them presenters may be brilliant. Judy Love's quite good. Them presenters may be brilliant, but I just don't think that format is working. So I think they might need to ditch that format and give them their own shows separately. And Lorraine doesn't work at all. So I think for Lorraine, to keep Lorraine happy for the future, I think what they need to do is they need to rebrand it, that's all. Keep it the same, but just rebrand it. Because Lorraine's no longer on every episode of her own show, rename it to something else. I don't know what you would rename it to. It's just that people don't take the mickey out of the fact that it's called Lorraine and Lorraine never shows up. It's like, like Lorraine Kelly takes Fridays off. Fair enough, you're allowed to take a day off. You're allowed to do that. That's fine, but just don't call the show Lorraine, because that makes you expect Lorraine Kelly to be there, or a woman called Lorraine, right? Not someone called Cheryl or Joel Dommett. So I do think that to save the future of Lorraine, rename it, rebrand it, do whatever, but keep it the same, because I think the format has been successful, but just rename it, because obviously then it can last longer and people can shut up about that Lorraine's not there because it's no longer called Lorraine, and we no longer have to panic that she's not going to be there. Christmas Day, we don't need Loose Women, Lorraine, This Morning, or Good Morning Britain on at all. We can have films, interesting original programming, and Christmas specials. Christmas Day for ITV is never great. It's because their heavy hitters are all ended. Like Vera could have had a Christmas special. That's ended. Aventador, that's ended. Grantchester could have had a Christmas special, but they're focused on rebooting, like You Bet, which is good. The reboot's quite good. You Bet on Toy, much better than the previous version of You Bet that he attempted, which was basically Stephen Mullen and Honor Willoughby, but then the second series is You Bet on Toy, which has worked tremendously. So, You Bet, Deal or No Deal, are the two that I can think of Stephen Mullen wise, that I don't mind the Deal or No Deal. I fell out of it just because I just don't. I'm not always entertained by Deal or No Deal in the first place. It's irrelevant who's hosting it. I was just curious to watch it enough. I do think that's what's lacking in ITV is daytime's lacking in anything. So on the BBC, you've got your 2 p.m, which was for doctors, but now it's your 2 p.m. drama. So it's your Father Browns, your Sister Boniface, your Shakespeare and Hathaway's Private Investigators. It's your Hope Street. So 2 p.m. drama, cozy crime sort of show. So I think that ITV need that 2 p.m. slot for a drama or a comedy. That's the issue. So if I think of ITV right now, can I think of a sitcom from the last few years that is still ongoing? Because obviously Family Tree isn't ongoing. Because ITV, if you think of ITV sitcoms of ones past, On the Buses, Rising Damp, you think of some good ones. That's just two examples. So, if you think about it, think carefully, what sitcom can you think of now on ITV? The answer is none. They have that panel show, it wasn't for me. But there isn't any. So drama, you've got Grace, you've got The Bay, you've got Red Eye. Can't think of many others. Previous dramas include Vera. Vera's now ended. But I think that's the issue. So if you look at ITV's streaming, ITVX, Cracker, Morse, not Taggart, Cracker, Morse, Lewis, Vera, Midsummer Murders, all this back catalogue of stuff, right, including their comedy back catalogue and a lot of stuff from BritBox, and I think that's the issue. So if someone said, Tom, do you watch much ITV? Well, that depends on if you're on about the linear channel or the streaming. Yes, I watch a lot of the streaming because I watch Wheels of Gummidge, I watch Biker Grove, I watch Vera and Midsummer Murders and Aventador and Lewis and Morse and trying to think of Pride and Prejudice and all these others, right? Not all of them from ITV because, as I've said, they swallowed up the UK version of BritBox, which means we've got a good chunk of BBC stuff. And I think that that's the thing. If you think about it, right? The BBC are sort of stable in the streaming world. When it was ITV's 70th birthday this year, they didn't really do much on TV, right? Do much. I'm not saying they didn't do anything, they didn't do much. But what they did do is, streaming wise, they added Beadle About, Stars in Your Eyes, the 17th documentary series about different decades of ITV, and Trevor McDonald hosted a programme about ITN News. They added Agony, they added, I'm trying to think of, they added loads and loads, right? And that's fair enough, and that's brilliant. That's what you want from ITV, right? Adding that on, incredible. Then, if you think about it really, their highest grossing programme of the year was never going to beat Celebrity Traitor. So I'm a Celebrity, I think, is not doing great. I think they need to inject a Celebrity Traitor style into it, not in format-wise, but in who they get celebrity-wise, because I think that's what did really well for Celebrity Traitors, was it's the amount of celebrities. I think the other thing that's letting ITV down generally was the closure of CITV and the fact that they did nothing for CITV's closure. You can name a lot of really good previous documentaries about CITV, which was, I think it was their 30th anniversary. And that was cracking, right? That was a cracking documentary. And ITV can do that, so they did a really good Aventador documentary, a really good Midsummer Murders documentary, a really good Vera documentary, right? These are really good documentaries, but there's a lot that lets it down. And I think that for the future of ITV, to get more to the title of this, what ITV need to invest in is shaking up, not lowering the budget so that Loose Women have no audience, but cancel Loose Women, keep those talent on board, right? But create a new format, a new show so that they all splinter off, maybe into pairs for a travel show, or maybe a new chat show, or whatever, but keep them away, just get rid of Loose Women, but keep those talents on the channel so they can do other projects. And we need more comedy sitcoms. We need more drama that isn't just crime. We need more generic drama, like a Malpractice is an ITV one I can think of, right? You need, like, last year they did Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, and that was incredible. We need another one of them. The Hack. It was good, but it wasn't to that extent. So I think ITV have got promise, and you can tell that they want to be brilliant, but it just miss the mark sometimes. You can countlessly name programs and they just miss the mark sometimes. So I think that's what they need to do. They need to look at the daytime, fix daytime to be more reflective of how the BBC does it, because the BBC has a mixture of the fix it, make it, move it, whatever that's called. Breakfast news. So a mixture of news, like you sort of like lifestyle-ish entertainment program, and the drama. So 2 p.m. could be their sitcom time instead of drama. I don't know. And I think that we just need to relook at the schedule and go, do we really need this, that, the other? Not saying that the programs are terrible, I'm just saying that it's because they've been on for, like this morning, Leave It Alone. Good Morning Britain, Leave It Alone. It's just Loose Women you need to cancel and get the talent into a new format. And then Lorraine you just need to rename so that it doesn't rely on Lorraine Kelly and being the butt of everyone's joke. So I think there's a lot to fix. But overall, I think ITV has that potential to do it. If they really look carefully, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is still as brilliant as it ever was. So I think there's enough to be going on with, right? To fix. But I think the future looks bright, apart from the selling and transferring and all that. Ignore that bit. It's looking bright. Because there's a lot you can fix with ITV. There's a lot you can do. And I think that the more they focus on fixing some of these issues, the better ITV will become. Because you can watch ITV now and like the NTAs is good and the Soap Awards needed to include Doctors last year, but that's irrelevant. But some of these heavy hitters you can think of are good. But just reformat some things or inject celebrity straight into I'm a Celebrity to get better celebrities on board so that more people will watch the show and it'll be a better programme at the end. Britain's Got Talent's really good, but bring back Britain's Got More Talent and inject more liveliness into that and not make it more stale and formatted. So maybe rest Britain's Got Talent for a year so you can adjust the format, rejig it, and come back with something bigger and better than ever before and adjust the format and make sure that it's a little bit different and you don't just go to a next round and the next round and the next round. You have to it's like X Factor with judges' houses and whatnot. Just add some sprinkles of X Factor into Britain's Got Talent, I think, and get rid of The Voice. Give the Voice back to the BBC so that they can do The Voice Kids and include that into Junior Eurovision and all that jazz. But I do think there's a lot to be said and a lot to be done. But it is fixable, it is doable, and it will help for the next 70 years. And overall, I do watch the odd program on ITV, but I never really watch ITV live. I think that's what they need to fix so that people like me who watch a lot of live linear broadcasts then can get into live linear broadcasts of ITV. So, there you have it. That was my critical discussion. Not too negative, not too positive. Critical discussion on ITV. One of the nation's favourite channels. Enough people still watch Coronation Street. Enough people still watch Emmerdale Farm. So, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. There'll be more like this in the next year.